right, thank you very much, Sheikh Dati, for that background report. And now, on the significance of Eid-El-Kabir, let's introduce our guest right here in the studio, and I'll begin with Imam Ibrahim Idris, who is Deputy National Chief Imam at the Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society of Nigeria. Welcome to Good Morning, Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, and also joining us here is Kasim Okwakunle, an Islamic cleric and legal practitioner. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning.
It is my pleasure to be here.
All right, also joining us for the conversation all the way from Lagos is Dr. Aisha Adavuruku, an educationist and life coach. Many thanks for joining us, ma'am. Barakat Salah to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right, let me begin with the Deputy Chief Imam. You know, Eid-El-Kabir is widely regarded as the festival of sacrifice. But what is the deeper spiritual significance of the occasion, you know, for Muslims around the world?
Naam, thank you for this question. The significance of Eid-El-Kabir, the festival of sacrifice, has some historical origin with Abraham, Prophet Abraham, the father of virtually all the three major religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, all rooted from his teachings and his messengerhood. He had a child at an old age, Ishmael, according to the Islamic history. And God tested him.
His faith.
God tested his faith to slaughter that. Let me see how dedicated, how love for me you have. A child at an old age, close to 100 when he had that boy, and then was asked to sacrifice him. He consulted the wife. She agreed. If it is God's command, so be it. He even consulted Ishmael himself. And Ishmael said, Satajiduni Swabiran, inshallah. You will find me very patient if it is the command of God. So they all agreed as a family to submit to the will of God. And he tied him, brought a very sharp knife. At the last second, when he was about to sacrifice Ishmael, وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذَبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ, we saw that he passed that test, and we substituted with a great sacrifice, a ram. That great sacrifice was a ram. So it's a lesson of patience, a lesson of obedience, a lesson of perseverance, and a lesson of submitting to the will of God.
Submitting to the will of God. Fantastic. Many thanks, Imam. Barrister Okwakunle, listening to the Imam speak, of course, it's beyond just sacrificing animals.
Yes.
This should, this period is a time for Muslims to actually reflect on their relationship with Allah and, of course, get better. But with the way the celebration is done these days, what lessons would you like Muslims to imbibe?
Yes, we are not expected to just go all out without certain observations. Generally in Islam, we do things with ethics, and even Eid that we are celebrating, we see it as an act of worship. So long you do it in compliance with Islamic dictates. We are not free to celebrate like any other occasions, like you spend money extravagantly. You are expected to spend money in order to take care of yourself and those who are around you. And that's why we have a formula with which we share the ram, whatever that we slaughter. And then before getting to slaughtering of the ram, you are only required, if you have the capacity. It is not a do or die thing. It is not what you have to indulge in corrupt practices, steal, theft, or stealing other people's property in order to ensure you acquire your ram. And it's not a practice that you did it last year, you must surely, by crook or by whatever way, you must also slaughter it this year. No. It is only required when you have the capacity. So Muslims must understand all this. That's truly is a good practice, virtuous practice, but you are only required when you have the capacity. And when you have the capacity at the same time, you must understand that Islam expected of you to, by that practice, good glad tidings to your neighbors and to your families.
Fantastic. When you talked about the sharing formula for the ram, I'm sure it includes that you must share to your friends.
Definitely.
Okay, I just wanted my Muslim friends to take note. All right, so let's get to Lagos. Dr. Aisha Adaviriko, distance is not a barrier in this case. You just heard that a sharing formula for the RAM. So to your question now, these days we're seeing more women, coming all out, even in terms of worship and all of that. Tell us, what is changing? And for you as a woman, what does Eid-el-Adha mean?
Okay, so thank you so much for that question. Eid Mubarak, everyone. When it comes to me as a woman, what does Eid-el-Adha mean for me? It's, for me, when I look back at the story of the mother of Prophet Ismail and the wife of Prophet Ibrahim, it signifies total submission to the will of Allah, and also submission in commandment, in alignment with the commandment of Allah to our husbands as women. Because when Prophet Ibrahim went to the land and left our mother Hajar there with her infant son, she submitted to the will of Allah and she obeyed her husband and stayed there. And again, when Prophet Ismail came of age, and he was, Allah commanded Prophet Ibrahim to offer him as a sacrifice. The Shaitan tried to, poison the mind of our mother Hajar. He tried to poison the mind of Prophet Ibrahim. He tried to poison the mind of Prophet Ismail. All of them together said, no, if this is the command of Allah, we accept. So as a woman, it signifies total submission to Allah for me, and also submission to our husbands when in obedience to Allah, because there is no obedience to the created in disobedience to the Creator. So it signifies for me obedience to our husbands when they command us in alignment with what's in the Sharia. And also, as a woman, it's the season where we go into the kitchen to actually prepare the ram, which was what was given by the gift that was given to Prophet Ibrahim by Allah to slaughter in the place of his obedience when he obeyed Allah in wanting to slaughter Prophet Ismail, his son. So it also signifies that it's a season of merriment for me to welcome guests into my home, to serve them, and by doing this, seek the pleasure of Allah. It's also a season where we go out to the Eid ground to offer the prayer, because Rasulullah has encouraged us that we should go out in our multitudes. Even a woman that is in her period ordinarily would not offer prayer at home, but she's expected to still go to the Eid ground and sit down and watch the multitudes, be part of the merriment. So these are all what Eid-el-Adha signifies to me as a Muslim woman. Thank you.
Very much, Dr. Adaviriko, but I'd like to stay with you a bit. You've talked about the bonding, you've talked about the merriment, which Eid-el-Adha provides opportunity for. But beyond all of these, how can families, take the opportunity of the moment to instill deeper values in their children, their wards, and loved ones?
Okay, so like last Eid, I was on NTA Good Morning. I was on this same program, and my son went to the Eid ground with his aunties. And later in the day, when I joined them, he was like, "Mommy, you didn't go to Eid. Where were you?" My son, he's 4. So, and I was like, well, I was serving the nation. So part of what we can do as women is go to the Eid ground with our family members. And beyond this, before this time, I got my son, my 4-year-old son. I have older sons, but every Eid we watch stories about the message of Islam. And I distill these stories to them to tell them the essence of faith. Faith for us is worship in obedience to Allah. So I get them to watch. When I was growing up in my own house, we used to watch, there is this film, The Message. It encapsulates the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the message of Islam. So my father and mother used to get us to watch it, and it's a tradition that I try to follow in my own home too. I get my children to watch it and also watch stories about Islam. And we sit down as a family and we discuss, the stories. What does faith mean? What does service to humanity mean? What does service to your nation mean as an individual? It means that whatever is happening in the family unit is what we see in the society. So as a mother, as a wife, as a woman, as a daughter, as a sister, I try to ensure that I spread love and also teach my children to spread love and unity, because that is the essence of faith. To believe in God and also serve humanity by, you serve Allah by serving humanity, because as his vicegerents, we are vicegerents of Allah on earth. And when we are able to distill these values in our family unit, we're able to build a better family unit and a better society. So this is one of our core responsibilities as women, as mothers, as wives. And it starts from our families.
From the family. Many thanks, Dr. Adaviriko. We'll get back to you. I'd like to get to the Imam right here in the studio. Listening to her talking about how she's, trying to raise her children. We know that there are disruptions these days, technology, social media, and all of that. So, Imam, speak to us really. I mean, the younger ones, can they join Eid prayers via Zoom? That's the in thing now. The teachings, what the celebration is all about. Do you feel that this modern age technology is disrupting some of these teachings?
This technology has its advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes it means within a family, 4 family members sitting down, each one is on his own. Each one is carrying his phone. And no attention, no this interpersonal relationship. That is the danger. And therefore there is nothing like virtual Eid prayer or by Zoom. This physical interaction, meeting one another, is one of the key principles. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, my dear Prophet, used to attend physically. He does the sermon, and when he finishes the exercise, he goes around to the women folk and specially greet and address them, especially. So it involves this physical contact, nothing like virtual Eid prayer. You need to meet, you need to interact, you need to admonish one another. There's one common phrase after Eid prayer. Taqabbalallahu minna wa minkum salih al-a'mal. May the Almighty accept all we have done that is good and the sacrifices. This sacrifice is nothing to Allah. لن ينال الله لحومها ولا دماؤها ولكن يناله التقوى منكم. The blood doesn't reach God. The meat doesn't reach God. What reaches God is your sincerity and piety. Therefore, this is a period where we physically meet, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. When she says she opened her doors in the house for visitors, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Sit down, eat with them, drink with them, celebrate with them. Feel that bond of relationship, and it will give peace and harmony in our society.
All right. Thank you very much, Imam. Thank you. Let me get to Barrister Kasim. Now, from your dual perspective as lawyer and cleric, how can the observance of these Eid celebrations, be done with spiritual upliftment on one part and being legally compliant?
Yes. we all know that in our society, we all have our various rights. And nobody can, on the religious ground, be denied his own right. We as Muslims, even Islam teaches us to ensure that the manner in which we tread roads, paths, the way we walk on the roads, Islam taught us on how to do that. And then not to even talk about celebration. You must understand that your celebration should not bring nuisance in the society. Take for instance, when you are killing your ram, for instance, it's if you're living in a community that is residential, you are not expected to combust. You set the ram on fire and start burning. You wouldn't know if your next neighbor is asthmatic, and that may affect them. So we are supposed to operate in such a way that we encourage peace. At the same time, we ensure that other people's rights are not being violated in the least of it. At the same time, we also ensure that we teach people on how to correlate. Just like the Dr. Aisha said earlier, I also do that too in my home. What I usually do is, when it's time, either these or these, the Eid we celebrate after fasting, I prepare food, my wife do that, but my kids share the food.
Okay.
And the essence of this is to teach them the fact that you don't live in isolation.
I need to be your neighbor.
You're welcome. The essence of this is to teach the kids that you must share. Teach them the art and the act of sharing. Okay, this morning, before coming here, I didn't even know I'm going to talk about it. Before I left home, I gave them their notes, cash. Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak. And they were jumping. Because so that they would know that we are already in the mood of a festival. I did that because I don't want someone else to give them money before me. The essence of all this is not because they lack it. The essence, what will happen at the end of the day is to put it in their pigeonhole. But it's to teach them that this is the way you should lead your life. Your neighbors have right over what you have, as much as you have over what they have. You must make your neighbors to be happy. They can't be perceiving very fantastic aroma when you are here filled and they are hungry.
The way I'm perceiving it in the studio.
So even Islam taught, the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in an hadith that the food of a man will be adequate for 2 people.
Inshallah.
Food for 2 people will be enough for 3 people. So in the essence of that is we must be able to accommodate ourselves in our community, because Islam is a religion of community that is based on community. So you cannot exist alone, but as you're practicing your faith, you can't afford to trample on other people's rights. You must make sure that the environment is not changed as a result of the fact that you are celebrating.
Your activities.
All
right.
So you don't block roads unduly. You don't make noise in the environment.
We're talking about making noise.
Yeah.
Do you think that besides blaring of music, loud music, and all of that, do you think that maybe there's noise in some other way? Say maybe in fashion, like there's this craze now by women, to look, flashy and all of that. Is that part of the celebration? Is that acceptable?
Yes, it is. It is.
But with modesty.
The only thing is, it is part of the celebration.
Right.
Just like I said earlier, that Islam moderates everything. There are restrictions, there are regulations. Women, for instance, are permitted to use gold, jewelry. They're permitted. But they are not expected to expose it in the public. They use that to their loved one, to their husband, to turn his head, so that the love will be stronger. The man will feel privileged that I'm seeing what others cannot see outside. I'm seeing the beauty that other eyes cannot see. It makes the man to feel honored. And feel the woman to be
Or feel privileged.
Privileged. Feel privileged.
When you said turn the man's head, I don't understand. How do a man's head turn?
I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
I don't understand.
Let's leave her. I like to get to Dr. Daviruku now. Leave her alone. So, Dr. Aisha Daviruku, please. How should parents, in this circumstance, how should parents and guardians balance cultural traditions with modern day expectations, especially when you are raising kids in urban cities like Lagos and Abuja?
Okay, so the network was a bit off, but if I want to rephrase I want to share what I heard. You said, how do parents balance modern expectations versus, the Islamic values? Is that the question?
I think it falls in line. Go ahead.
Okay, so when it comes to modernity, as Muslims, we have what we call the Sharia. The Sharia in its entirety is the culture we live by. So if you meet a Muslim in any part of the world, they should be able to live by the culture, which is the Sharia. It's the total way of life for Muslims. And it has guidelines for how we live with each other, how we celebrate, how we do everything we do. So in balancing modern values or modern way of life with our Islamic values, we must ensure that we only pick those things that align with Islam. We can only pick from the modern what aligns with Islam. In parenting, what does that mean? It means that you're able to allow your children use technology responsibly. You allow them use technology as long as it does not corrupt their values. The values of Islam are faith, peace, honesty, modesty. All of these values, especially, for a Muslim woman, the way of dressing, of course, for a Muslim man too, but let's even focus on the woman. The way of dressing has been regulated. You must cover yourself. This is the only area for a Muslim woman that should be exposed. So in going to the Eid ground, you are expected to be modest. In conducting yourself as a mother, you're supposed to also, showcase these values to your children. To your female children and also to your male children, you should be able to teach them values of honesty, of responsibility, because they will grow up to be the men that buy the rams, right? So they should know that they are being prepared to take on that responsibility. So balancing modern values with Islamic values means that we take only what aligns with Islam, the values that align with Islam. So in some modern culture of the woke culture of, sometimes you say things as they are without necessarily checking for how it lands, for responsible use of language. You need to pay attention to your speech, your manners with people. Islamically, you're expected to smile and greet people when you meet them. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said it's a form of charity, So, in our dressing, we should be responsible. We should showcase ourselves as Muslims. Even for the men, there are guidelines for, your hair. You should either cut everything or keep it groomed. Not, some of the way that we see some young people do their hairs these days. In your clothing, it should be clean. Even in your thoughts, you should be able to regulate your thoughts such that when any evil thoughts occur to you, you immediately flip it to the positive. So, all encompassing, we should, in our manners, in our speech, in our dressing, we should be Muslims. Thank you.
Muslims in every way. Many thanks, Barrister Adavariko. I'd like to get back to Imam now. Well, it's an abridged version because, we're opening a live studio where we'll be talking about Eid-El-Kabir in full and, of course, joining different Eid grounds, especially the Eid ground where the President will be worshipping this morning. But Imam, I'd like you to run us through the right way that the Eid prayer should be done and how the ram should be slaughtered, because I know that all of these are regulated. Like, there's a right way to do the thing. Is it that you get to the Eid ground and then you begin to do live stream and begin to, take selfies? I mean, the path you take getting to the Eid prayer when you're coming out and all of that. Just run us through that as a reminder.
Right, as a reminder, the two raka'at prayer are done mostly now around 9 o'clock. So you are supposed to wake up, you and the children, bath, put the best of clothes, apply perfume, be modest exactly for men, and then you start moving. Preferably, if it is not too far, you trek the distance. But these days it's difficult, so use whatever means of vehicle and get there. When you reach the mosque and before the arrival of the Imam, you sit down and then start reflecting over the glorification of God. Simple formula. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar wa lillahi alhamdu. Simply means Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. There is no deity worthy of worship except Allah, Allah is the greatest. Just glorification, glorification throughout until the Imam arrives. The moment he comes, you stand up for prayer. 2 rak'at, simple rak'at, not more than 5 minutes, you are through. But the Imam is expected to address the congregation after those 2 pieces of rak'at prayer. And most of the discussion will be centered on the significance of this sacrifice, the need to share, the need to visit, the need to interact with humanity generally. Those are the simple procedures. Thereafter, go back and slaughter the animal. In fact, you must witness the slaughtering of the animal by the Imam. That's why the Imam normally they convey his ram to the mosque so that you witness how he slaughters his own. Generally, slaughtering, we should be good to animals. No excessive tying them, no suffering the life. Even as he's losing his life, do it with modesty and goodness. After that, call the butchers, pieces it, divide it into 3, 1 for the family, 1 for relations, neighbors, and if you like, the 3rd one, give it out to the needy and indigent. In fact, that reminds me, in Alabibia today, we are cooking for at least 3,000 indigent. Today, by 9 o'clock, food will be ready. Muslims, non-Muslims, neighbors of the mosque, everybody comes, well-packaged food for 3,000.
In fact, that's what I was going to ask Barrister Kasim. Because you've also mentioned earlier that Islam encourages sharing of meat and inclusiveness.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, how should this be done, especially in neighborhoods that have, a mixed faith?
Yes, I have friends who are non-Muslims, and I'm sure they will all resort to my house later in the day. Only that I offer
Add
them.
me to that list, by the way.
We'll see to that. You're already welcome. But I only offer them what my faith permits.
Of course.
I will say, okay, this is my friend's, he drinks. I'll offer
alcohol.
I'll only offer them what
Your
my
faith
faith
permits.
That ram.
Most importantly, even some of my staffs in the office, some of them are saying, please, Oga, my ram, when we are coming back, when we are resuming next week.
Sure.
So the point I'm trying to make out of that is, if you have the capacity, Islam did not say that you can only slaughter 1.
Good.
You can slaughter more. Even the woman, your wife, can slaughter in her own name.
Exactly.
She can.
What about those who can't slaughter? Is there something that can substitute for the ram, considering the present economic challenges and the cost of the rams?
Well, ram, goat, cow, and camel. Those are the options.
And don't forget you can share.
And if you can't afford
If you
any
can't
of
afford
these,
any of them?
If you can afford all that, for the purpose of celebration, you make your family happy, you can get any other thing. Because I said earlier that the slaughtering is not mandatory.
Exactly.
It is only for those who can afford it. But one important thing is, slaughtering one ram, you can do al-ishraku fil ajr.
Okay.
That you slaughter one ram, and when you are doing the slaughtering, you say that you are slaughtering it for yourself, for your wife, for your father,
Exactly.
for your mother. So they will all share in the reward of slaughtering.
On behalf of all of them.
Yes, on behalf of all of them. So that takes care of those in your family who cannot afford to slaughter. But if you can afford to slaughter, you can slaughter as much as any. You have the capacity.
10, 20.
Even your sons, your daughter, who are of age, and they have the capacity on their own money, they can as well slaughter.
Can you slaughter on behalf of your daughter or your son, daughter? That is there age limit, for instance?
No, absolutely no. When it comes to something like that would be of public benefit, the only thing that is required is your own capacity to the financial capacity. And then when you are talking about financial capacity, I think we've talked about it, that you are not expected to get the money from the source that is impure. Because in Islam, we are very mindful of the source and the end. Both the source and the end. Because if the source is wrong, there can be a end that is right. So, and that is one. Two is, in as much as you are buying more than one or two, make sure that there is no extravagancy, that there will be leftover food, whereas people somewhere, that same day, they are hungry. And God will be angry with you.
No show off.
Even human beings will be hungry, not only God. Because there they are hungry, and you are already here wasting resources. So Islam does not give room for that. So it did not allow extravagancy. Rather, it encourages community and mercy to ourselves.
Many thanks, Barrister. I'd like to get back to the Imam, before we get to Dr. Adebariko in Lagos. In the past, were women supposed to attend, the Eid prayer? I mean, because there's this that women now attend the Eid prayer and all of that. Has that always been the case, or it's a changing narrative?
It has always been the case right from the time of the Prophet. It is a day that he sees everybody converge, and that's why Dr. Aisha Adaviruku was making a case. Normally when a woman is in a period, she doesn't pray. But the Prophet encouraged even those on their monthly cycle to join and just observe that congregation. So it's a practice right from the time of the Prophet. It's encouraged even today. Yes, I agree with you. There are a lot of atrocities now going on. People may even deviate from going to the mosque. But the standard is women are allowed to attend that Eid prayer just for the multitude and for the interpersonal relationship. You see people you have not seen for over a month at that congregation. You salute one another, you greet one another, you share prayers with one another, you raise hopes for one another.
Is that a way, for people who not by choice? Say some people are ill, for example, and cannot be at the Eid ground. Is there a way they can, I don't know, take part in this prayer, maybe on your own? Is that possible? Or is it that you are totally exempted?
Due to necessities, circumstances, illness, incapacitated, sure, one can, in spirit, observe those Eid prayer from home. Can watch, can pray, can join by heart this kind of congregation. So I can understand with these excuses. It's allowed.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. Let me get back to Dr. Adaviruku. Now, most of the youth we see around these days are interested in the glamour and social media aspect of the Eid celebration. But how can they be redirected to the true essence of the Eid festival?
Okay, so thank you so much. To comment briefly on your question, which Imam have answered, but I wanted to share a personal experience. I called my great aunt last Friday and we're having a conversation, and I told her that, maybe at the previous time I called, you had gone to the mosque. And then she said, no, I was not at the mosque. I've never gone to the mosque before. You know, it's these days that women go to the mosque. But just like the Imam said, the mosque is a place a woman should go to, and the Eid ground especially. But there are guidelines, just like the Imam said. The guideline is a woman should be properly dressed. The part of the woman that should show the face and the hands. So, as a woman, please attend mosque prayers. If you're married, with the permission of your husband, of course. And for Eid prayers, please come out in your multitudes and go to the Eid ground. It is the sunnah, it is the tradition of our Prophet Muhammad that women should go to the Eid ground, even for women who are ordinarily on their period that should not, pray the normal 5 daily prayers. But even if you're not praying the 5 daily prayers, it is our tradition as Muslims to wear a new cloth or a washed, pressed cloth that looks very nice on you and go to the Eid ground and showcase the beauty of Islam. It is part of our tradition, and it is highly encouraged and highly rewardable. So pack as much reward as you want into your accounts when you return to Allah. Part of the way of doing that is going to the Eid ground on the Eid day. Even if you're a woman in your period, sit down and watch, the multitudes come out and celebrate and share greetings with as much people as you can. It is rewardable. You get a lot of reward for doing acts of the tradition that are encouraged. Now, to your question, please repeat it.
I wanted to know, young people these days get carried away by the glamour and the social media aspects of Eid celebration. And I'm just wondering what your advice would be to redirect them to the true essence of the festival.
Oh, so thank you so much. That's a very, very important question. The essence of this celebration was when Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam got to Medina. He migrated from Mecca to Medina, and he met, the Jews doing some sort of a celebration. And then, he said, Allah has given us 2 celebrations, which was the Eid, the small Eid, and the big Eid, which we call the Eid-El-Adha. So now, this particular celebration, the essence is to commemorate the sacrifice. The sacrifice which was ordered by Allah. Allah ordered Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son, Prophet Ismail. And then he obeyed that order. He actually blindfolded his son. And when he was about to sacrifice him, Angel Jibril removed Prophet Ismail from under the knife and replaced him with the ram, which was direct from Allah to Prophet Ibrahim. And what's behind this is that Prophet Ibrahim, without questioning the decree of Allah, actually wanted to carry out the sacrifice of his son. But there is a deeper dimension to this. Prophet Ibrahim, for a long time, was married to our mother, Sarah, and they didn't have a child. Sarah was already in her old age when she said, okay, why don't you marry our servant girl, Hajar, so that she may bear you a child? And with the permission of Allah, Prophet Ibrahim actually married Hajar, and she gave birth to Prophet Ismail, which was the first son. At his old age, he had his first son. And then subsequently, for this obedience, for this sacrifice, Allah actually blessed our mother Sarah with Prophet Ishaq. Now, this son that Prophet Ibrahim had as his old age had come of age. And then after he came of age, he got inspiration from Allah to sacrifice him. Without questioning this, decree of Allah, he went ahead to do the sacrifice. And Allah actually replaced, like I said before, this with a wrap for him. So what is the essence from all of these that we can take as Muslims? It is to ask ourselves as Muslims, are we actually obeying Allah's command? You know, the revelation of the Quran is complete, and the Sharia is complete. We have all we need as Muslims to live. The Sharia is the complete way of life for us as Muslims. So we have all we need. We have all the laws, how to marry, how to do anything we want to do. We have a lot of deviations today by Muslims, sometimes in dressing, sometimes in how we conduct marriages, sometimes in how we conduct relationships, sometimes in how we even worship. But the true essence of, faith is to learn. Rasulullah said that the first thing as Muslims is to learn Islam. We cannot say we do not know Islam. We need to learn Islam. Where do we learn Islam? We need to go to our mosque. We need to go to our scholars. And I also want to call on our imams to distill these learnings in our Friday sermons, in our daily prayers, find time to distill. We already do that, but we can continue to do that in a deeper way, to distill the fundamentals of Islam to the teeming Muslim population. So in the essence of faith, the essence of this season of sacrifice is for us to obey Allah. But to obey Allah, Rasul said we cannot worship Allah if we do not know him. We need to know him first, which is that we need to prioritize seeking knowledge. Where do we seek this knowledge? There are a lot of ways. Social media, technology, YouTube, Google is a way to learn Islam from good sources. Authenticate your sources. You can check the sources you learn knowledge from your scholars, and then go online, learn knowledge, go to your scholars, learn knowledge, attend our prayer houses, learn knowledge. And it's by learning this knowledge that you understand the essence of faith, which is the essence of this celebration, and you practice it as a Muslim. Thank you.
Many thanks, Dr. Adavuruku. Let's get back here in the studio. Barrister Okwakunle, I'd like to hear your thoughts about the lessons of the celebration, Eid-El-Kabir, using it as a way for nation building. She's talked about the youth and all, but I'm just looking at how Muslims and even non-Muslims can learn from this particular celebration and make our nation better.
Yes, we must know as Muslims that we have a responsibility in our society to keep peace and maintain peace. And that is the injunction from God. And we must understand that it is an instruction which must be complied with, just like our forefather Ibrahim alayhi salam complied with the instruction when Allah told him that he should slaughter his son. And he complied without question. He didn't question God. He didn't hold on or hold back, that after waiting so many years, and I eventually had one, and he told me to slaughter it. He didn't hold back. He went ahead to comply. So as Muslims, we have the injunction from God to ensure that our society is at peace at all times. And this responsibility, it is mandatory upon us. In fact, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he made it clear in one of the ahadith. He said, Ar-Rahimun, yarhamuhum ar-Rahman, tabarakallahu wa ta'ala, irhamu man fil ard, yarhamukum man fil sama. He said, anybody who is merciful, who is good to other people, God will be merciful at the person. He now said, be merciful to people around you. God in the heaven will be merciful at you. And the essence of this is, we must know that a society cannot develop when we are not correlating peacefully. It is only when we ensure peace that we develop a society. And for such society to coexist peacefully, all the parties, including the Muslims, must be able to tolerate ourselves. We must also ensure peaceful coexistence by tolerating ourselves. Muslims are not supposed to be intolerant, because even if you read the story of Islam, you will realize that when Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left Mecca to Medina, he met Christians, he met Jews, and he did not chase any of them out of Medina. And he came there, even though Islamic government was eventually established, but they were there, living, coexisting peacefully. So this is a nation that we found ourselves, and we've learned that from Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Then it becomes a mandatory, it becomes a responsibility upon us by the spirit of this Eid, that we coexist with our neighbor peacefully. We must be our brother's keepers in every sense of it. In terms of needs, we must assist them. In terms of support, we must support them. In fact, when we realize that things are going wrong against them, against their interests, we get their back, hold their backs for them. That when they come back and they realize that, oh, you did this for me, even within them, they may be saying, even though I'm not a Muslim, you did this for me. I've seen someone who gave a job to a Muslim brother in this Abuja. He got a job for a non-Muslim. And the person came to me, he said, do you know that friend of mine? He was telling me, even though he's not a Muslim, I got a job. I said, well, it is our duty as Muslims that most of us fail to do. People will not appreciate what you are holding when they are not benefiting from it. It is only what people understand and they see the benefit that most people will appreciate. And then Islam has taught us that we must preach Islam. One of the ways we can preach Islam is through benefit. Let people see that you benefit a lot from being a Muslim. And then, where a society, if Nigeria is not peaceful, it is not going to affect only non-Muslims. It is a society that belongs to all of us, and it becomes our collective responsibility to keep Nigeria at peace. If as Muslims you decide to create crisis, no problem. It is a water we are all going to sip from. It's a cup we are all going to sip from. But when you ensure that you maintain peace, and if you are saying peace, it starts from individual. You do your part, your fellow other Muslim brother will do his part. And after a while, even if other people are trying to fight you, and they realize, they see what you're exuding from time to time, that's peace, you are not willing to fight, then they will talk to themselves. Sure. They will be able to talk to themselves and meet you up with peace, which you are extenuating to them. So, as Muslims, we have the primary responsibility towards societal, communal development. Nigeria is our collective responsibility, and we have a stake in developing Nigeria. And one of those things is for us to maintain peace, give peace, and ensure people benefit from us. Not only our dear Muslim brothers, even non-Muslims alike.
Thank you, Barrister Kasim. Imam, I'm thinking, on a day like this, what's your message of hope and reflection as people get set to celebrate Eid-El-Kabir?
Well, my brother has reeled out issues on peace, harmonious relationship. I even want to go further, because one of the significance of this Eid, as we said, is patience and perseverance. Here is a nation bedeviled by inflation, insecurity, economic challenges here and there. My call on my brethren is to be patient with this situation. Patient and prayerful for this situation. Let us give our leaders the chance, with all the efforts left, right, and center. Let us give them the chance. Let's even pray for them. Let them succeed, so that we pull out of this economic quagmire, insecurity all over the place. Most important, we must also tell them the truth where they are. It is important we avoid corruption at all levels. It is important.
Can you use the proceeds of corruption to buy a ram? Will it be acceptable by
No
Allah?
way. Allah is pure and does not accept anything but pure. Even if you bring your donation or your tithe to me, I have the right to inquire your source, especially when I know your capacity. It is important to inquire. Some will tell me, no, don't go into details. My boss used to tell me the devil is in the details, so don't go into details. But sometimes consciously, you know, somebody calls you and just hand over 2.5 million naira to buy RAM. That's crazy. I know there are rams of 2.5 million naira in Abuja, but I know I can sneak into my village in Kaduna and get 150,000 naira ram. So why 2.5 million naira for a ram for an imam? That's quite question mark. So we must say the truth to whoever it is, the leaders, the followers, the technocrats, those that are in the front seat in the mosques and churches. Tell them the truth. Don't be after the handout they'll be giving you.
All right, many thanks, Imam. One of our correspondents is in Saudi Arabia, and he joins us via Zoom. Talking about Tokwe Alabi, he's been on Hajj, and I'd like him to tell us where he is at the moment and what Eid-El-Kabir is like in that part of the world. Tokwe, Baraka de Salah to you.
Well, many thanks, Iri and the crew in the studio. Today is in Mina. Everyone, as early as possible, to throw stones. And it's already sunny. That's why I can't stand outside. The temperature is about 345 degrees. It might not be too good for me to stand. So that's why I decided to stay here at our lobby. By and large, it's been a very wonderful experience, and the Saudi Arabian government has been able to ensure that minimal beaches charged for pilgrims to CSI. So, what basically today?
All right. We seem to be having distortions in the audio quality of that, connection with Tokbe, who is in Saudi Arabia. Once we are able to get that connection right, of course, we would get back to him. I'd like to get back to Dr. Adavariku now, who joins us in Lagos. I hope that connection is still intact. Okay. All right. So, of course, we'll join her much later. Let's get back here in the studio. All right. Do we have Tokwe ready? Okay, fine. All right, so of course we'll join Tokwe and of course Dr. Davariko. I actually wanted to ask Dr. Davariko this particular question because she's a woman. It's about how women should conduct themselves this period. You've talked about nation building and all, and we've talked about the importance of the family unit. This period, it's likely that some families may be in crisis because of this celebration. Just say a man who cannot provide a ram for his family. What do you expect the wife to say this period? Your mate did this. All those kind of comparisons could lead to a lot of things. Yes. Or maybe you cannot provide new clothes for your family and all of that and everything. What would be your admonition, really? I'm sure Dr. Dwariko will tell us better, being a woman. But what will be your admonition to homes that are struggling this period and cannot meet up with some of the requirements of this celebration? Particularly women, what would you want them to do?
We must understand that, like the saying goes, that life is not a bed of roses. Certain times you have resources at your disposal in abundance, and at the other time you lack them. And it is not a curse; it is just the formula of existence. Even in our holy book in the Quran, Allah said it that وَلَنَّبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنْ خَوْفٍ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنْفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. The meaning of that is we are going to test you with fear and hunger. Surely you are going to experience a reduction in means of sustenance from time to time. So if your husband come home and he tells you, I'm sorry, I can't afford it this time around, you should know that this is a man, before he returns home, he must have sat under trees, thought of several ways, lawful ways of getting resources to acquire.
Anyways, I'll have to pause you, barrister, because you may not understand it from the woman angle. It's a woman that knows how it feels when a man is not providing as he should. So let's get to Dr. Adavareko. She's probably going to give us a clearer perspective of what women should do this period. You know, Dr. Adavareko, you know what I'm talking about. See your mates. They have bought the ram. See the new cloth that this Hajia wore, and you couldn't get this for me. You know, speak to women this season, especially for women, you know, that your husbands have not been able to meet up with some of the commitments of the celebration.
Okay, that's a tough one. I empathize with you if you're going through this. I deeply, deeply empathize with you. It is very difficult to see your mates having or experiencing a lifestyle that you would have loved but you don't have. And of course, it's a test. Like Barrister said, it is in the Quran where Allah told us that He will test us. And He will test us, but what do we do with this test? It also speaks to, you know, the season. Prophet Ibrahim was tested, his wife was tested, his son was tested, and they all submitted. You know, when Shaitan wanted to come into this, he went to Prophet Ibrahim and he told him that, oh, you waited so long for this son and now you are being asked to sacrifice him. Don't sacrifice him. He threw stones at him. The same with Mother Hajar, the same with Prophet Ismail. So now, if this is your own test at this period to face some lack, I want to tell you that you should make do with what you have, pray to Allah for abundance, and encourage your husband to work harder while also doing your best in your own capacity to do whatever you can to contribute as much as you can, but do not take over the man's responsibilities. It is still his duty to provide for the family. If you have, give some to him in charity. It is encouraged in the Sunnah. You can even give your husband your zakats as a woman. If you're more well-to-do than him, you can give out of what you have to him. If you do not have, I know there are situations where your husband does not have and you don't have. Manage what you do have. This is a season where people would also give to you. Please look around your neighborhood if you have and give to those. I want to encourage women that before each time, look in your wardrobe and bring out those clothes that you have not worn for a long time and give it out in charity. Look for people in your neighborhood that may likely benefit and give to them. You can ask them kindly before you give to them so that they don't feel that you're giving them castaway, that, oh, I have these clothes. Do you know somebody that may benefit from them? Or can I give them to you? You know, so by that doing, you're able to spread joy. You're able to be part of other people's celebration and you will be rewarded. Remember that as human beings, we're here on earth to work for reward. And this reward is what we send forth for our account with Allah when we go to Allah. So do as much good as you can. You do not know the good that would actually increase your scale on the day you are with Allah. You do not know which of them would increase your skill. And whatever you do, do it with the right intention to serve God and to be of benefit to mankind. So when you do this, you gain the reward for your good deeds. When you do this, you gain the reward for your good deeds. So I want to say that we all have a stake in this. The have and the have-nots. We have a stake in alleviating. If we have a stake in alleviating those that don't have. If we do not have, it is still a test from Allah of how patient and how we persevere. Remember that this is also the season of patience and perseverance, because Prophet Ibrahim was patient. Sorry, I'm stopping the call coming in. Sorry, let me put this on mute. So, Prophet Ibrahim was patient when, he was being tested with the lack of a child. And even when he was given a child, he was still patient and he persevered when Allah asked him to sacrifice the child. So this is a season that Allah sometimes also tests our own patience to see if we would walk in the footsteps of our father, Prophet Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adavariko. I hope that a lot of women have heard you, and this celebration will not bring chaos in their homes, but of course bring peace, like Barrister has said. When we get back from the break, we'll talk about what our leaders need to learn from this. This is a season of sacrifice. I mean, our leaders sacrificing enough, for the nation. All of that we'll talk about when we come back from this break. Stay with us.
Thank you for being there. We've been discussing Eid-El-Kabir celebration on Good Morning Nigeria. And at the moment, we have contributions from the viewers, which we would like to take immediately. You have some, I guess.
Yes, I do.
But let's begin with Jibril Ahmad Jibril Issa from Taraba State, who says, good morning to you all in the studio. Happy Eid Mubarak to all my Muslim brothers and sisters. He says this is a season of love and sacrifice and also showing acts of kindness, said by Muhammadu Asudila. Okay, I'm really happy and privileged to witness this Eid Mubarak, inshallah. Again, honestly, Christians and Muslims are one, but the stubborn ones among them are the ones causing problems. If you go to Gaza and Israel, they behave the same way. They never fight for religion, only border problem. Religion is not our problem, but our attitudes. Unfortunately, no name. And I also have Good Morning Nigeria, Happy Salah. All the guests have spoken well. I specifically appreciate Barrister Kasim for his contribution on peaceful coexistence. I wish majority of Nigerians will put it into practice. That's from Ibrahim from Kaduna.
All right, I'd like to start with this one that says, good morning, my name is Wahab. I'd like to ask your guest, can I receive ram as gift from someone? He gave it to me and he asked me to slaughter for Eid. Is it acceptable?
Sure.
Okay, even if you don't buy with your money, you can slaughter a gift. Okay,
sure.
Fantastic. All right, so that's your response. So you can go ahead and slaughter the free gift. I mean, lucky you, by the way. All right, the next one here says, good morning to all the panel members. My name is Abbas Abubakar Saad from Jalingo, Taraba State. I wish you all a happy Salah. However, I have one question. Since Salah Eid has coincided with Juma today, is it still necessary to observe the Juma prayer after the Eid prayer? What is the position of the imams regarding this matter?
In all the school of thoughts, 4 school of thoughts in Islam, 3 have agreed after the Eid prayer you can still observe the Jumu'ah prayer. Only the Hanbali school of thought say because of the stress, the logistics, that after the Eid prayer you can skip the Friday prayer.
But will the mosque be open for the Juma prayer?
Sure.
If you want to, why not?
Oh, fantastic.
Sure.
All right. I like this one, and I hope that the FCT minister is listening, or rather watching. This one says, Eid Mubarak to all Muslim Ummah across the world. I'm Eid-El-Kabir from Prince and Princess Abuja. We make an emotional appeal to His Excellency Barrister Yeson Wiki, FCT Minister, to please leave the waterboard running throughout the Salah period. I mean, we need water. We need light. So we should also ask
They didn't
AEGC.
turn off the water board.
No, well, I think maybe sometimes it goes off,
Yes.
just asking that there's water, there's light. I mean, we just need all of that to make the Salah celebration a fantastic one. Great, we're about rounded off, but of course I was talking about how we can relate this, how our leaders can relate with this. Interestingly, we have the president, the vice president going to the Eid ground today to pray. This is about sacrifice, really. We have a lot of our leaders in different states who are Muslims, who understand what sacrifice is about as a result of the celebration. How can they relate that with how the country is being governed?
It is important that leaders should be conscious of situations we find ourselves in the country. Things are hard, things are difficult, a lot of economic challenges. Thank God for the rain. We hope for a bumper harvest. We pray for bumper harvest. But this is the time leaders should dedicate resources to alleviate or at least reduce the pains of poverty in the land. Yes, I've seen some direct intervention, supply of rice, supply of vegetable oil, intervention by mostly the first ladies, both at the federal and at the state levels. We need to do more on the part of the leaders. But most important, let them curb excessive expenditure that are unnecessary. All these long convoys should be reduced drastically. It consumes fuel, wear and tear, and a lot of resources are being put just for the benefit of one person. You go to the airport road, you see convoy of 9, 10 vehicles just seeing off one person. This is certainly, it will be better certainly to reduce some of this unnecessary expenditure and channel these resources to viable economic engagement or investment where the generality of the masses will benefit.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Let me get to Mr. Kasim. Earlier we talked about people who do not have to celebrate Eid. Now, some people go to the extent of borrowing just to make, to be part of the celebrations.
Yes.
What does Islam say about such actions?
Well, borrowing is permissible in Islam.
And then going into debt?
But going into debt that is above your capacity, it is prohibited.
Certainly.
And the thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, La ikra fi din. There is no compulsion. La yukallifu Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Thank you. That Allah does not place upon you that which is above your capacity. So if you do not have the capacity to slaughter ram, it's different from, okay, you have money that maybe your salary was delayed. You're expecting salary to be paid this week, but it did not come in. You're certain that maybe by next Tuesday, upon resumption, it will be paid. You're certain. That you can say, okay, my friend, can you please hand out some money? Let me get this thing resolved, pending when my salary will be. But a situation where you have to go to cooperative society to break your account, to borrow money, loan, simply because you do not want the practice in your family of slaughtering every year to break, that is not permissible.
And by the way, to states who got their June salary early, they should be careful why they spend, because
June may become longer if you overspend.
We need to go. There's no time. Dr. Adevariko, your last words as we round up the conversation to Muslims and non-Muslims alike.
Okay, so thank you so much for this forum. And I hope that all what my co-speakers have said and also the presenters have said on nation building and maintaining peace and unity, which are actually our motto as a country, would be upheld by all, both Muslims and non-Muslims, as we celebrate Eid. I want to wish everyone Eid-El-Kabir, Mubarak. May Allah bless the celebration for us, and may we be able to reflect on the message of Eid and allow this reflection to color our lives moving forward. Thank you so much.
Indeed, our lives will be colorful as a result of this celebration. Fantastic way to end the conversation. Thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate our guest, of course, Dr. Aisha Adavareko, educationist and life coach. Thank you so much for being our guest. We appreciate you, and Eid Mubarak to your family. Barrister Kazim Opakule, Islamic cleric and legal practitioner.
Yeah.
We expect the Ram and the Baraka de Salah, of course. You know, it's all part of the celebration. Thank you so much for being our guest and your insight. All right, Imam Ibrahim Idris,
Thank you.
Deputy National Chief Imam Al-Hababiyya Islamic Society of Nigeria.
Thank you.
Many thanks for being our guest,
you
and we
very
hope that the teachings in our mosque, you know, on building the nation would continue. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We have a live studio opening now, and of course, it's a continuation of the Eid-El-Kabir celebration. We'll be joining Eid grounds across the nation, you know, watching our leaders, of course, you know, perform the Eid prayer, and of course, listening to messages, you know, from different Eid grounds. All of that is up next on the network service of the NTA. Ajia, Abdullahi Ajia, yes, is going to anchor that, and he's already ready, looking smashing.